I'm thinking that these Fulanis really want to take over Nigeria, it's not just an argument on we farmers telling them not to eat our crops or this. They seriously want to take over Nigeria. And by doing that, they want to eliminate every person. So if this thing continues, tomorrow you may not have anybody alive. They might even come to the headquarters where orders to run to come out. Like most of these chiefs, you give title chiefs in the villages, they are all left their places and they are somewhere in Makurdi here. So how can they rule here while their clans are in another place? So if it continues, there will be no Nigeria. But this insecurity had brought more harm than good to our women farmers. As I talk to you now, there are women in other local governments who are crying. Their seed yams are still in the store. They can't plant because they cannot farm. They have been sent away from their own motherland. They are refugees in other places. And we are crying out to government, how can this help women? We cannot go to the market and start buying food because of the price there. And without our land, we cannot farm. And this is the season for farmers. You know, when this season comes, farmers are always active. We make sure we plant at the exact time so that we have it at good time. And because of this, if the women go to the farm, the Fulanis, at times they rape them, they kill them. Just of recent, in Balong, in Wewes, one of our women was killed. She had just 5 months old baby. She lied there dead. The baby didn't know that the mother is dead. He was just lying by her side, being comforted with the presence of the mother, not knowing that there was no life in that woman. Otherwise, this issue has started the time that we are staying for village. This is a farm we are farming. Yes, if we farm, we can provide anything that pay us with ourselves. But these people are coming to attack us to our village. In the daytime, around 5 o'clock. By then, I was in the village with my children. This is my last born, where I born now. Where she's in the school now. That day, and from back, I back her to be taken away to Irony for that matter. And I thank God as He guided us for that day with our life. So this matter is continuing with us till now. No way. But the other days, this matter is going on like this. But any moment from June, July, the matter was cooling, so that we should go back to the home and find some things like Katafa. So many things that June, July, it don't pass. And now this thing of Katafa, now in that June, July, we are finding it. But now for this year, nowhere to go in there, because this Naka load, man, no way to go there. for the village, nowhere to go and say, I myself, I'm sitting here, I'm speaking with you now. All my houses in my village, they are very burned.
They burned everything.
Everything damages dead inside the room, nothing there.
So there's nobody in your village now, everybody?
Nobody, including no any goat and fowl inside that village. In both of many rooms, you cannot say anything concerning house because they burn this rain way for it. Some of them, they are breaking and running down. So that's why we are facing it.
And then the reason why it's never saying they come is all because it's how you will manage and get something to chop to take care of your children. Because he may sometimes say that they will bring food and give people living in the camp. And some of us, we don't want to be begging much like that. We want to find something for our sweat. And we know that when we stay there, that will bring us problem because this thing, some people get stroke because of thinking. You be thinking about how to survive with your people. So you can't just sit down like that. So we just decided to pack ourselves, to find where we can live and sustain our life with our family.
Behind me are mourners in Sakave community, a suburb of Makurdi, the Benue State capital. Now, this suburb hosts or accommodates hundreds of displaced persons that have been chased away from their respective communities due to the herders-farmers conflict. While WADR was on field to have or collect first-hand information from the affected people, we heard, again, a loud scream that a displaced person that lives in this community has been killed by herders on his way to his community to see if he can access his farmland. It's unfortunate though, but this is the reality that many of the displaced persons in Sakave live every single day. I have a displaced person with me here, Mr. Paul,
Sir?
Who says this is a daily occurrence. At least 3 to 4 people are killed on the Naka axis. Paul,
Sir?
Tell me, just while we're done talking, we heard a loud scream. What was it about?
The guy is living in this community, but he's way going to Naka. From there, the herdsmen attack him and kill him. So this is the challenge we are facing. It's almost every day, any time at all, till night.
Well, today is May 13th. How many calls have you received that the member of this community was killed on his way in or out of Naka?
This is 2 calls. The first one, it was in the morning time. This one is now that we heard that this so thing has happened to the guy. The guy was here before, but his way going, they come attack him and kill him on the way.
And his wife lives in this community?
Yes, sir.
And so how does this affect the psychology or the emotional well-being of people like you and those behind you who were all chased away from your communities by herders?
In this case, we don't have anything to do. We are just sitting. And anything we are hoping to God. And the government, the city government, it can help us. We don't have anything to do than to run away. We already run away from that community, and some of our parents, they are there. We have to see them. But when you want to see them from there, they will attack you.
Now, but Paul, if I understand clearly, where the attack happened, where this man was killed, is not far away from where we are standing now, you and I. Do you have any fear that it may approach or get to this community where we are today?
And that one we cannot talk because we're in God's control, we got hand. We cannot say they can come here and whatever. And the fact of this matter, say this is civilian administration, that the ones controlling anything. And you cannot bring any aggregation that this is also what is happening. It can affect you. You understand me?
For your own personality and security,
actually,
you have to mind what you say and wait on the government to make or take all actions.
That is it.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Thank you too, sir.
Well, there you go. Paul is one of many displaced persons from several communities affected by farmers' herders conflict right here in Benue State, north central Nigeria. Behind me, they are all mourning. They woke up this morning to a beautiful, promising day, a beautiful start. No, but that was not the reality, because a first case come this morning that a member of this community has been killed. Hours later, a second call of another member being killed. The question remains, when will it end?
Fulani, they will do their own. When the security pass, they will do their operation. This is what we are facing. Every day. Red machine.
What happened to the machine?
No, it went to that place. But it's where going.
There is a national and state emergency offices. And periodically, the emergency offices used to provide relief materials to these people. But it is not enough, because there are families and very big families. So the material that come from the emergency offices are never enough at all. What is yours is bigger than what is given you at hands. So the land that has been taken over by the Fulanis and the grazing there is bigger than where our people are staying in the IDP camps. So they are not always comfortable at the IDP camp. If you visit the IDP camp, you look at the type of tents they live in. These makeshift tents, they live like animals. Actually, it is not good to keep humans, reasonable people in such makeshift tents. And because of the number and the relief that comes is poor, it cannot even go around enough. So not even everybody is there at the IDP camps. Majority are just squatting with other friends and families.
So no. Yeah, but you were just telling me now that indeed you are a displaced person from which local government?
Guma. Yelwata Council.
Okay. So what year did it happen? Was it just recent or years ago?
No, from years ago. But now that you see me operating, because we go for us, because it's something of March, like 40, and they still push us.
March 14. Just 2 months ago.
2 months.
You went to your local government area.
Yes.
So that you prepare for this harvest season.
Yes.
But again,
they still push me.
Who are these people?
The Fulani.
Wow. And behind you is
displacement.
your family. So at least you survived the attack and you were able to escape intact. But would you say that some people were killed in the community?
Yes, they killed my people. Even for that my Italian house, they killed almost 3 people, 2 females and 1 man.
Just this year?
Yes, this year.
March?
Yes.
Wow. So the land you are farming on now, does it belong to you? Are you farming for somebody or you are farming for yourself?
No, now somebody gave me. I come back in. So now he gave me this little nana thing. So just here to happy. As you see the bush, there's no way to buy chemicals. I just planted just like that. So now from there now I carried a small hole now at the east.
From where to where? From that roadside?
Yeah, from that roadside.
Down to that other end?
Yes, as you see the bush, man.
Yes.
People where they are indigenous here, then they get money. You see, I've been impressed with chemical. So me, I don't have too much. I just planted it like that. So from that now I carried the small hole now at the bush to weed up.
So what is your appeal to the government?
Some of us were not true to this thing, so we cannot. At times they will say they're doing something about it. At times, but our problem is to go back because we don't have anything to do with Fulani. We know the fight with them. Now then, they cause the whole problem. If now, as I'm talking to you here, they will say they're calling back to go. We ought to make us go back to village. I will carry my go school. Because in our community, that our forest, there are some things we do inside ground. We go come out and my feed chops. Survive your life till your thing go down. So that one doesn't.
Well, the struggle is double.
But now here, I'm not gonna lie you, the way we are, they suffer with my family is not small. As you see, as I mature with us. Without if I not find job, we need to talk with my people. I cannot look to somebody something like that and go and pick it. However, I can't go and pick it. They don't have. Can't. Dog.
The problem actually started in Benue in February 2013 when you had the Agatu attacks, the Agatu killings. It started from there. Scores were killed February 2013.
So post 2017, it now became a more intensified and more consistent wave of attacks. You see, so if it had been only grazing, it would have no problem. But when they go on attacking, they burn schools, they burn hospitals and burn churches. What does this connect with issue of land and grazing issue?
Growing up as a child, I observed that we used to have Fulanis around us who move with their cattle. And there was this traditional ways of resolving issues that has to do with either your cattle have trespassed onto a farmer's piece of land, eating his crops. They were traditional ways of settling these issues without them escalating. However, we have witnessed a chain of events entirely. That today it is not as, friendly as it used to be. And unfortunately, we have a law in Benue State that is against open grazing, but that law is not respected by the elders. And unfortunately, it seems that we see little or no commitment on the part of government in giving effect to that law in terms of effecting arrest and trying people who violate that law, because there are a lot of sanctions under that law.
July to October. So government say after October of 2016, there should be no more open grazing in Benue. If you want to graze, you have to set up a ranch. So there was an they call it open grazing prohibition law. So by October of that year, the law came into force, where the governor said, the then governor, Mr. Samuel Otom, set up a livestock protection guard. So the job of the livestock protection guard then was to go around the state, keep a surveillance, to ensure that the law was observed strictly.
Violators will be sanctioned.
And violators to be sanctioned. And of course, that's what they were doing. So between October and December, there was a relative peace of 2016. Then, January 1st, 2017, there was massive attack on the night of that New Year Day.
Sometime in 2017, it became more difficult. Herders and farmers' conflict grew from dialogue in community to attacks in villages.
In Logo, in Guma, in Gwe West, three local governments experienced sporadic attack. It was like it was a coordinated attack that happened at the same time in these three locations, and several people died. Hundreds of people died. And if you could recall, there was even a mass burial that happened at that time. So from that point on, from that January 1st massacre, from then up to today, up to last year now as we speak, there has been waves and waves and waves and waves of attacks.
People started coming in and attacking farmers in their villages. Sometimes farmers, criminals amongst the farmers to go to rustle cattle, and it started going out of hand gradually. And so the problem became too much for the state government. Then that brought about the open grazing prohibition law, which says if you have cattle, if you have goats, if you have any animal that could be destructive, ranch them. Resistance to this law created more problems. Some herders say, if we ranch our cattle, it becomes difficult for them to feed and all of that. Government started engaging farmers, engaging herders to have a better understanding of what their challenges were and how the government can come in to solve these problems.
It has affected my business because sometimes you have cultivated rice and I couldn't go back to the rice farm to harvest because those areas were first overrun by these herders. My rice was eaten up by the cattle. What will I do? It was a major loss. So the crises are there, and like I said, it's multidimensional, the issues. And these herders come in seasonally. Most times is when we are planting. When we are about to go to the farms, we'll discover that the attacks takes, a higher dimension. You have them happening more often. Then when it is time for harvest, you see the attacks happening more. So you discover that you find more of the attacks happening now, that people are about to go to the farms. Then towards the end of the year, there will be a short break, maybe for 6 months. Towards the end of the year, when it's harvest, you see the attacks we continue.
Before we started this recording, a friend of mine was calling me from Jos. She wasn't Jos. She's Birom, but she had to relocate because of that. So starting again was not easy for her. I think as we speak, she's not yet very balanced. Growing up in a place, taking roads, and you have to leave to start again. Even before as we speak, a lot of businesses have closed down.
Already. Because of insecurity.
Exactly, because let's say you travel to the village to get your stuff. There are no access for you to go again. So where else will you get it? So Benue State is known for food. We are the food basket of the nation. So at the end now, you are to leave Benue State to go and source food elsewhere. You see all the expenses and all of that, right? So a lot of businesses have already packed. More are still packing. So it's not easy. It's not easy. That's just the truth.
So there have been allegations from quarters of some persons being interested in the insecurity in the state to score a political point, because when the governor came on board, we witnessed a lot of transformation, infrastructural development in the state. And we are still witnessing such. However, the reoccurring security challenges in the state seems to dominate conversation today. And then you watch keenly the body language of the politicians, alongside the divide, because we seem to have factions, interestingly, within the same political party.
The ruling party?
The ruling party, the APC. So there seems to be a faction. And when you look carefully at the body language of the factions and the ideologies and the message they carry, then you are worried. Because it seems a faction seems to celebrate when there are attacks and the name of the governor is called preeminently in most of the attacks. And that said faction seems to have allegiance to Abuja. And in their conversation, the name of the president is never mentioned. And the president is never invited on the need to guarantee the security of the people and their properties. So for me, it's plain to be smart by half from that narrative, because if the president who commands the security of this country, who have control of the DSS, who have the army, the navy, and the police force, cannot guarantee the lives of the people, then it's a disturbing trend. And as we speak, there is still an ongoing conversation as the issue of state police. So at the moment, the state government do not have their own security apparatus or force to command.
One cannot completely rule out the cases of maybe political undertones. One cannot completely rule that out. But then again, you can't also rely so much on that, because there is no evidence to back that up. Or if you say, oh, it's political undertones, so someone will be saying, okay, so who are the political gladiators or who are the political figures that are fueling the crisis? And then you start scratching your head. But like I said, you cannot. It's a very huge possibility. But then, for us in the civil society, we are not so much bothered about who is fueling what. We are more bothered about how are the security agencies living up to this challenge.
Are they living up to the challenges?
If you ask me, I would say not so very much. Not so very much in the sense that since 2017 up to date, when this crisis has become very, very violent and consistent, I have not seen where anybody has been arrested. Where they'll say, oh, we arrested 10 bandits yesterday that attacked XY village. Oh, we arrested 5 people that attacked this village. Personally, I have not, and I stand to be corrected. I have not seen anywhere anybody has been arrested. So they attack, they kill, they destroy, they go scot-free. Nobody's arrested, nobody's prosecuted, and that's it. Tomorrow or next tomorrow, they attack another village. So for me, that speaks volumes about the efficiency or lack of it from the security agencies. Because if 1-2 people are arrested, probably we can get some information from them. Probably we can hear them say, oh, we came here because this person sponsored us or this person sponsored us. But we never, like I said, personally, for me, I have never seen where perpetrators have been arrested, where they say, oh, people that attacked this village were arrested. I have never seen. So that alone for me is a very, very big issue. And then 2, I've never heard where security agencies come out to say, oh, we foiled a planned attack on this village. Maybe they will say, oh, last week we have intelligence from intelligence gathering, we were able to forestall an attack on maybe Zakibiam, for example. We never had anything like that. So it's always a case of it has happened, then they go after it has happened, they go there, the commissioner of police will go, the security agencies will go there, they will flood the area. After it has happened, they will maintain a presence for like a week or 2, then they will go back again, then suddenly it happens again. So for me, if you ask me, the security agencies are living up to the task, I don't know. Maybe if they were in there, it would be worse. I can't say, but as it is, it leaves so much for me to be desired.
Yeah, police operations may not always be the way the people want it to be. It's not all about arrest. Operations are not about when we go to the bush, we arrest the people and arraign in court. This kind of operations may take a different face. If you carry an AK-47 and engage a police officer with an AK-47, it's either he will subdue you, neutralize you, or you will retreat to where you are coming from. And then they will have cause to, review the situation, review the operations from time to time, and then results will come up. But the people expect that we just go into these people, arrest them, come out and parade them, show them to the public. This is who we have arrested. Sure, if we make arrests, we will let them know that we have made arrests. But if we also close down our borders for people to stop coming in, at least we have done something to stop further attacks. That could be a first measure. And sometimes when we go in for operations, we have cause to say, okay, we have come in. If you want peace, surrender and go back to lawful duties. But if you don't want peace, in the next 1 or 2 days, we will be engaging you. If these persons decide to lay their arms and go away, it's another way of fighting.
Have you had some of these incidents where they laid down their weapons?
No, but I know that when police teams arrive such environment, the first thing to do is to make announcements. If you want peace and you have arms, lay them down. Let's talk. What is your problem? The police will do that first. Then when people refuse to obey law or come out to say what they want to say, the police will eventually engage them. And for the past 1 week since we had deployment, we have relative calm in the communities. We've had attempts, people attempting to attack communities and engaging the police, particularly in Ayilamo. That's the boundary between Taraba and Benue. We've had some persons from that forest come out and make attempts to engage police officers, and they were repelled eventually. But we are communicating with Taraba and Nasarawa State. And I know that over time, we need time to carry out these operations and report to the people what is happening in these places.
In fact, as we speak today, there are some local governments in the state or hinterlands in the states that when the inhabitants of those villages lose their loved ones, without being accompanied by security, they can't access their villages. In fact, we lost a colleague who happens to be from Guma Local Government. We need trucks of military vans with security to accompany us. And there was no need for any wake-keep. Straight, he was taken there, and within some few minutes, he was buried, and then everyone returned home. So that tells you that people have deserted their homes. So by implication, they no longer have access to their farms. And an average Benue person is a farmer. So the moment you can have access to your farm, you need to look for another source of income. And then you need to look for an alternative place to live. That has mounted a lot of pressure on some of our major towns that appear to be more safer. Like you see people running away from characterised to Benue Local Government to earn a living. There is that pressure on public utilities and facilities. The same thing is happening in Makurdi. People who are affected around that Guma axis run down to Makurdi. People who are affected around that Agatu axis run to Tupu, which recently has come under attack as well. So you see, once there is that migration from the rural communities to the urban areas, there is that high demand for even services, and then there is increase in criminality as well, because someone that was busy with his hands farming is now begging in the city so as to survive because he has no means of livelihood. And then this is someone who never received formal education, but having found himself in the city by circumstance of his displacement, that person is left with no choice than to begin to look for other means of survival. Whether they are legitimate or otherwise, he or she sees that as a means of survival. So today, you see most of our brothers who are displaced doing Okada in Makurdi here. Some of us cannot even access some of the local governments in Benue, and you don't even feel safe traveling there. It's even a risky decision to even travel to some of these areas that are worst hit by insecurity in the state. So the effect of that, it has affected the economic development of the state. And Benue is fast losing its food basket status that is known for.
The prices go up. We have issues of food insecurity now, food insufficiency. And if you look at the underlying factors, apart from the many issues of GMOs being in the market that will move from our traditional seeds and usage of GMOs, you discover that most of those effects of food insufficiency, food insecurity are related to these issues of herdsmen. Because Budbu farmers, most of them are the ones that are hacked down and killed. You discover that, okay, that farmer that was killed maybe was producing 10 bags of rice. What happened? Because he's killed, 10 bags of rice are not in the market for people to purchase. So the number of farmers are plummeting. That's why I mentioned the issue of technology earlier. We are still trying to get to mechanize our farming. We are still doing manual farming, and those that are to give us the workforce, the laborers, are being plummeted by issues of herdsmen killings.
But I want to make this point. When we talk of attacks by, terrorist attacks by herdsmen and the rest, our people over the years, in fact for centuries, have been living peacefully with herdsmen who come from the north. The Fulani herdsmen, come to our communities. People actually go to their settlements to buy, fura, nulu, and all these things, interact with them. They stay for a period of time. Their cattle do not go to anybody's farm, to destroy their crops or anything.
There was peace and respect for each other.
And even when there was a problem, they had a kind of mechanism, a local resolution mechanism, where the chiefs and the leaders of the Fulanis will sit down and resolve the issue.
So what happened to this mechanism?
What happened is that as the years passed, we saw a different set of herdsmen who a lot of people, even the security agencies, say are not Nigerians. These ones come armed with AK-47s. The herdsmen that we used to know never carried a single automatic weapon. In fact, they never carried guns. You saw them with their sticks, with their knives, with their whatever, their swords, but never a gun. And so these ones that, have invaded, let me put it that way, are the cause of the problem. Because it seems from all indications that what they are looking for is not just to feed their cattle. What they are looking for is to seize people's lands.
Do you mean land grabbing?
Land grabbing. And that has been the crux of the problem, because they want to come, drive the people from the land and settle. While the people are in IDPs, internally displaced persons camps, they are in the communities there, roaming all over the place, their cattle feeling free.
No. These Fulanis are not the one we used to stay with them. They are not. You see, even Fulanis, they have sectional. They have what can they call they have their section, because in any language we have different people, because what can I call lineages. The Fulani, they have lineages, and some lineages that will stay with them here are not the lineage we know again.
These issues were raised in the last attacks, particularly in the axis of Kwande and Okom. The people on ground within those places,
The villagers?
yes, they raised this concern that the people we are seeing don't look like
the herders they used to
they
know.
used to know. Yes, the herders used to come in with cattle and steers. These ones are coming in with AK-47 without cattle. This was the alarm that was raised before the last deployment that happened. So I think that is being looked into. The command got that report, and like I said, all resources sent to the command have been deployed. Both intelligence gathering, both operations to forestall attacks in these communities. It's ongoing. So we hope to, get more information about what is happening. And if it's beyond what the police can do alone, we will involve other authorities that will help us in handling it.
We don't have many much things to say about that, because it's our home. When the security pursue the Fulani people, we can go back to our homes and start our farm. So we're now pending. As he's speaking to you, the level of Fulani in our home now is too much, because they are too plenty. The security, they are trying, because every day if they hear every day say they are trying to resolve the matter, but the level of Fulani, they are plenty. So, man, we are all praying that may God help us, so that the security will defeat here, so that we can get a chance to go back to our various home and continue our farm work. Because we farmers, we get season. It's a seasonal something. As of now, we know that this is a particular time to plant our corn. And again, after that, we can be hoping to plant our rice and the cassava, whatever. So if all the time has passed, it has no meaning. And if we can continue living in this situation, we hope for the short time we be as if that there is sickness that come to destroy our children. There's no food we can eat.
Our role as a religious body is very limited, because the issue of security is very dicey, and it's the duty of the government to provide security. Ours is to preach the message on the altar, to speak to power, speak through to power. As they come to church, speak to them, and they need to secure the lives and properties of the people, because that is the principal reason why they are in government. So we speak to them, and if given opportunity like this and through the media, we also talk, on the need for the government to be up and doing in securing the lives and properties of the people, because it's very quite disturbing what is happening. The people are helpless. The church is helpless. You go to IDPs, you see people in their large numbers. And all these things. When will it end? When will it end? Ours is the message of faith. And there's nothing that faith cannot do. With faith, all things are possible.
Has faith worked all this while?
Faith works wonders.
Has it worked all this while?
It has worked. It has worked. It has worked. These killers come and, and we, our people have counteracted them, in many cases. You understand? By the power of faith. So we preach faith to them. Don't be afraid. Resist them. And since the government cannot protect, they protect by the power of God. You know what I mean? And God has helped us. It has helped us in many instances. You know what I mean?
And my last question, has the religious community also contributed in terms of welfare and social support or care for victims?
So many times. We have IDPs. We have many people like the IDPs come, and we, time and again, we visit them with relief materials. Many of them also visit us to partake in some of our churches services, and we identify them and provide succor for them, financial succor, clothing, beddings, toiletries, and many of such. The church have many ministries, have been up and providing these relief materials to them, because they are part of us and we can't leave them. So we have to help out. While the government is playing its part too, the church too cannot relent. We are doing it within our own capacity as God provides. We also help.
My last question to Pastor Petrus, tell us, as the government strategizes with partners to overcome the security challenge, what must be the central message to all stakeholders, to be the person or be the military or civilians, be that person a man or woman, a child or an adult? What should be the collective central theme in tackling or maneuvering the current security hurdle that Benue State faces?
So the whole issue is all has to be on deck, but the politicians and the security personnel and also the media, let every hand be on deck, because the issue of security is everybody's business, and there should not be compromise. There should not be compromise, either in terms of political affiliation, or whether the killers are of a different faith, with the security personnel. There should not be compromise. All hands must be on deck to make sure that lives are protected, because at the end of the day we will give account of our stewardship to God.
So the relief is coming, but it's not enough. So what government is doing has never done enough. More needs to be done. And of course, most importantly, for these people to go back to their homeland and begin to live their life they were living before. I think that will be better than continue to stay in the camps looking up for relief materials.
And unfortunately, we seem not to see more of the intervention from the federal government. Because as a lawyer, I know as a fact that the chief security officer status associated with the governor is just a name. The man that commands the security apparatus of this country is the president, who is the commanding officer of the Nigerian Armed Forces. So any deployment of even the ordinary commissioner of police to a state is controlled by Abuja. So as a governor, you're just there in name as the chief security officer of the state. So when most of these attacks happen, in fact, recently what happened around the Sankara axis, there were even information prior to these attacks. There were even warnings ahead of these attacks.
Well, looking at what is happening so far, you can easily tell or say that they're trying their best in trying to, because just like human, even when you do not know someone and something happens to the person, you feel it. Talk more of you being in a position to stop a thing, right? So I think what they should do, they can do more. Go back to the grassroots, see how best they can help. Because if the masses are not resting, they're not having peace of mind, I don't think the governor of the states will go to bed and sleep. I don't think his cabinet will go to bed and sleep. So more work should be done by going to the grassroots. Sometimes there are certain areas, certain things that when done, or there are persons they need, if it means we need help, right? So those areas, those agencies, those places that we think or they think they can get help from. Now is not a time to use this situation to do politics. It's just the truth. I'm not a politician. I'm a business person. I have never done politics in my life. even if I would do politics, not now, right? So I am not standing in for anybody or against anybody, but let the truth be told. Let's keep politics aside and do what is right to save lives.
But as I speak, the command has deployed so many police officers across the states. The force headquarters sent in mobile unit police officers, mobile men from different formations to join us in tackling the current problems. I believe that this is an immediate approach. There is to handle what the sudden rise in attack. After this phase, officers may have gathered intelligence that we will put on the table and deliberate. The first reports will be sent to force headquarters for deliberation. People will come in, senior officers will come in, and then proffer solution to what is happening. It won't continue. It can't continue like this. It has to stop. So, but the command currently is trying to handle this phase of constant attacks on communities. That's what we're doing. That's where we went yesterday with the Commissioner of Police to see the level of deployment of resources that have been sent in to the command by force headquarters.
I fear because of our children. Because some of us, we might want to take our exit. But our new generation who are just coming in, talk about, okay, the incident of that dead mother and the child. If this thing continues like that, will these children grow to see the age we are in? Or will it be Nigeria as a whole? Me, I'm thinking that these Fulanis really want to take over Nigeria. It's not just an argument on we farmers telling them not to eat our crops or this. They seriously want to take over Nigeria. And by doing that, they want to eliminate every person. So if this thing continues, tomorrow you may not have anybody alive. They might even come to the headquarters where orders to run to commerce. Like most of these chiefs, you give title chiefs in the villages, they are all left their places and they are somewhere in Makurdi here. So how can they rule here while their clans are in another place? So if it continues, there will be no Nigeria. There will be no.